But I thought, this is strange that they would lock somebody in here.
In Utah schools, padded rooms like the one in this picture are sometimes used to isolate students from their peers.
The only thing that was missing was a straitjacket.
They're only supposed to be used under narrow circumstances. But some advocates are worried that any use can have long-term impacts on students.
These are really traumatic experiences. And what we know about trauma is that trauma can be forever.
I'm Fox 13 investigative reporter Taylor Stevens. I'll explain how and how often seclusion rooms are being used in Utah classrooms and why they pose some civil rights concerns.
What goes next to Arizona?
New Mexico.
Stephanie Merrill has been fiercely protective of her 8-year-old son Austin and his brother Braden.
North and south.
Since the day she and her husband brought the twins home from the hospital as foster placements.
For rock and roll music.
The couple later adopted the boys, who were exposed to drugs and alcohol in the womb and have since been diagnosed with autism.
There we go.
Can you read this word right here?
Tennessee.
Kids were traumatized before they were born.
You're doing awesome, buddy.
Over the last few weeks, Merrill has been trying to keep her sons from being traumatized again after she discovered the use of seclusionary timeout rooms in Utah schools while on a tour of Elk Meadows Elementary in South Jordan.
So these boxes are about the size of a porta potty. They're silver, metal gray. They're padded inside. My very first thought was solitary confinement. They stand there and they hold the latch shut, and that's what the little window is for, is so that they can watch the child.
Merrill says she was horrified to picture her son Austin being put in one of these rooms and thinks the tactic would be frowned upon if she tried it at home.
If we were locking our children in boxes, CPS would come and remove our children.
It's not just the Jordan School District. Students across the state, in 21 of Utah's 29 counties, were subjected to seclusion more than 1,300 times in the 2020-2021 school year. That's the most recent year federal data is available for.
Seclusion is putting a child in a room area against their will and not letting them out. In a school setting, it often looks like a child having a big, behavior, getting forcefully drugged to a room, put into it while someone either blocks the exit or holds a door shut.
Sometimes seclusion takes place in a timeout room, like Merrill was shown. But seclusion can happen regardless of whether it's done in a space specifically designed for that purpose. The key is
they are also purposefully isolated from adults and peers and prevented from leaving, or they reasonably believe they're prevented from leaving that area.
Utah's Board of Education has administrative rules around seclusion. They say the practice should be used only in extreme circumstances, only when a student poses a serious threat to themselves or others, for example.
Seclusionary timeout is a last resort. It's an emergency measure that's used to prevent the imminent physical harm to the student or others.
The state's rules say seclusion shouldn't be used to punish or discipline a student. They also prohibit students from being placed in seclusion for more than 30 minutes at a time and require educators to provide notice to parents and school administration every time they use it. Teachers are also required to keep watch over a student the whole time.
We at the Utah State Board of Education do our best to really support the districts and charter schools in understanding the rules and the guidance surrounding the use of seclusionary timeout.
Several other states, including Georgia, Hawaii, Nevada, and Texas, have either banned or severely limited the use of seclusion, and some would like to see Utah follow suit. Their primary concern is the potential for lifelong trauma for these children.
Kids go in those rooms and they're in a fight or flight panic mode. They bang, they scream, they might yell for a loved one. We often see that the stress is so high that kids might even urinate or defecate themselves.
Guy Stevens founded the Alliance Against Seclusion and Restraint, starting it after his son was put in timeout rooms in Maryland schools.
My son's experience with restraint and seclusion led to a lot of trauma for my son and my family.
His son is neurodivergent, and he became so afraid to go to school after those incidents that he had to be temporarily homeschooled.
The impact is really lasting. I mean, I know kids that were restrained or secluded when they were 7 or 8 years old, who at 18 or 19 can't sleep with their door shut at night, are afraid to get into an elevator or go into a small enclosed space.
The majority of instances of seclusion in both Utah and across the country involve students with disabilities like Stephen's son and Meryl's twins. In Utah, it's about 8 in 10. The federal government has warned that frequent use of seclusion could constitute a civil rights issue for disabled students.
If you're stuck in a box somewhere, you're not getting whatever education all your peers are.
Nate Krippus is an attorney with the Utah Disability Law Center. He says the center hears complaints about seclusion from parents in the state at least a few times a year.
Yeah, it can escalate the behavior, which I don't think is solving the problem or making it better. It probably is leading to more seclusion.
We reviewed the data Utah schools shared with the federal government. It showed more than 1,300 instances of seclusion involving just over 500 kids. That means some students were put in isolation repeatedly.
If you're seeing a kid that is repeatedly being secluded, then again, I don't think this intervention is working.
After her tour of Elk Meadows Elementary School in South Jordan, Meryl says she ultimately decided not to place her son at the school.
We left, got in the car, and I thought to myself, there is no way on earth my child is attending this school or any school that has these padded boxes to use.
Texas is next to New Mexico.
But she recognizes that other parents may not have the same privileges
I didn't know that was a cotton plant.
and hopes by raising more awareness of the issue, she can help end the use of seclusion in Utah's classrooms altogether.
So what goes above Oklahoma? Can you look?
Kansas.
Kansas?
Yeah.
We want to have public outcry and outrage that these boxes are being used. We really want these boxes taken out of the school.
Right here, like this. There we go.
The Jordan School District, where Meryl first learned about seclusionary timeout rooms, said they are used very rarely, quote, only in extreme cases for brief amounts of time for the safety of students and staff, and always by highly trained staff. Tomorrow on Fox 13 News at 9, we'll tell you about a Utah student who spent 14 hours being secluded and restrained in a Utah school, and why the use of seclusion may be more common than we know. Reporting in West Jordan, Taylor Stevens, Fox 13 News, Utah.